Hello everyone, my name is Emir. A lot of persons have reached out to me in the past few days as regards the present trend of the dethroning of the Emir of Kano, and then as to the relation to whether that can ever happen in Benin Kingdom. And that's because everybody knows that I'm a defender of the history and culture of my people, and I'm a proud one at that. I've listened to different comments and read a whole lot of different comments and listened to a whole lot of voice notes and a lot of people's participation on this whole trending exercise. It's been very, 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 very fun. And I wish to use this voice note to also do my bit of contribution. And when I do this, it's not because I'm a proud Edoma, but because I want to give it from a standpoint of history that can be verified uh, when you make comparisons with what I have said with other written documents. First thing that was asked was you say that the Oba of Benin cannot be dethroned, but Oba Ovonramwen was dethroned. That is far from the truth. Oba Ovonramwen was never dethroned. All right. When you dethrone, I think what dethrone means is to remove completely and being replaced. For you to remove someone from a place of authority, Oba of Benin was not removed. They understood that the only way that the Oba of Benin can no longer wield the power he wielded was to exile him to a distant land where he can no longer be in control. But unfortunately, he was still in control. We understood that the British wanted to create a country that eventually became Nigeria and all that. They wanted Benin Kingdom to be part of the British protectorate. We protested. They desecrated our land, so that led to the British massacre to Benin, and eventually that what led to the war. The Benins were defeated, a painful defeat, however, and their Oba was through the flawed and British justice system was sentenced to exile, and eventually he was there for 17 years. When he was there, they understood what the British could not foist on the people, so foist another king on the people. First, Chief Osagwe, who is a member of the Iwebo Chancery, was chosen to be a regent for a period of 2 years, after which our Obaseki eventually became a regent for 15 years. In all of these, Oba Ovonramwen was still presiding over the affairs of his people through a telegraphic stool. We have explained that some time ago, and he was simply irreplaceable. Who are you going to replace him when you dethrone the Oba of Benin? Eventually, his son became the Oba of Benin July 20th, 1914, as Oba Iweka II. So, Oba Ovonramwen was never dethroned. If he was dethroned, who replaced him? In that period, he was still alive for 17 years. So, it was just a simple analogy of a king who was far away from his throne, but was still a king. He was no longer Omaya Rekete, but was still the Oba of Benin. You cannot call him the former Oba of Benin. He was still the Oba of Benin even when he was in exile. There's a popular saying in Benin, Ekinobaye Edoye. So wherever the Oba is, that's where Edo is. So that sacred code rather, can't be broken by a British government, of which the Benin monarchical government is way older than the British system of government. I'll prove that later. Yeah, let's leave Oba Ovonramwen alone and let's not say if the Oba of Benin can really be dethroned. Can the Oba of Benin really be dethroned? I say no, the Oba of Benin can't be dethroned. I'm not saying this that people should understand. The state government or the state governor has the power to dethrone the Oba of Benin. But the Oba of Benin's structural monarchical arrangement sheds is immune to dethronement. So permit me to use the word the Oba of Benin is undethronable. The reason is not because that the state government do not have the power to dethrone every sitting Oba, but the practice, the monarchical practice of the Edo people sheds the Oba from being dethroned. I like then at this very instance to take us through some historical timeline. Yeah, like the Benin people have seen it all. They have practiced quite different type of monarchical government. The first government that was practiced was assuaded as Ikodionwe, a kind of a gerontocratic government where the elders or the oldest of these different quarters of the old Benin were being selected to herd for some time, which the Benin called Ikodionwe. This is the practice of our government pre-Ogiso era. Then when the Ogiso era started, Ogiso Igodo started the law of primogeniture. The from father to first surviving son. Should in case there is no surviving son, it goes to the next of kin. The law of primogeniture was exacted. Then after Igodo, his grandson A became the Ogiso. Then after Ogiso, A, Orire. Then Orire, the third Ogiso, had no son. So the Benins now reverted back to gerontocracy, the government of the oldest people and or the elders of a town. Then that lingered on for a very long time. Then until it got to the time of Ogiso Riagba, who reverted back to primogeniture. The law of the primogeniture was exacted until it got to Ibath Oba Ohen, who now started another type of government, which I will refer to I really don't know that type of government, what is being called. It is a government where all the children of a sitting Oba must take turn to be the Oba of Benin. They must take turn to be the Oba of Benin. So Ohen's 4 sons became the Oba of Benin. That practice went on to even Obaiwa the first, where his 3 children they all became Obas of Benin. They all had sons or they had children. So, but because that was the practice of the Benin people at that time. So after a while, after the time of Ozolwa, the Benins now reverted back to primogeniture again. Then from Ozolwa all through Esige, through Orogboa, down to Hengbuda, down to Obaohuan. So Obaohuan had no son as well. So we now reverted back to rotational. No, not reverted. We now started practicing a rotational kingship, like being practiced most in Saudi Arabia and part of the southwestern Nigeria. A rotational kingship was not practiced amongst the royal families. All right, so they now have ruling houses. That rotational kingship lasted for 6 reigns amongst 7 kings: Ahenzaye, Akenzaye, Oriogene, Ahenkbaye, who's that then? Terminated at Ewakbe. Then Ewakbe now promulgated the second act. All right. The first act that was promulgated was Ogiso Riagba. Then the second act that was promulgated was Oba Ewakbe. Ewakbe promulgated that act of express primogeniture, not even kids and kin, from the Oba to first surviving son. However, even at that, there was a twist that even his first son did not become the Oba of Benin. It was the second son. Eventually, his first son took over the throne again. Akenzo the first. But however, from that time of Oba Iwakbe, it has been express primogeniture. I know there were bad turns and twists, but it's usually between the sons of the Obas of Benin becoming the Oba of Benin. So the throne of the Oba of Benin is so shaded, has survived for 2057 years, making it the oldest surviving monarchy in the entire Africa. And that makes it has outlived most Western cultures, most Western government, that it has become too sophisticated, too organized, too complex, and it's immune to laws of Nigeria that was created just 20, somewhat 50, 60 years ago. So it is not that the Edo State government do not have the power to dethrone the Oba of Benin, but simply the throne of the Oba of Benin is undethronable because of the practice of express primogeniture. When you dethrone the Oba of Benin, who are you going to relinquish? Who are you going to give the throne to? His first son. And his first son cannot become the Oba of Benin until his father passes on. And when his father passes on, because his father has to pass on, he has to do the ritual of sending his father to the great beyond, then has to do the ritual of the Daikenship. These things are traditionally instituted. It has nothing to do with political creation. So it is not going to be the Edo State government that's going to tell the Daiken on how to go about the practice of the ritual of sending his father to the great beyond. It's not going to be the Edo State government that's going to fix the date where the coronation of the Oba of Benin is going to take place. It's not going to be the Oba of Benin that's going to put the crown of his forefathers on the head of the incoming Oba of Benin. These things are traditional. The Benin have organization that is second to none in the world, and they have internal mechanisms that ensure that these throne is passed from the father to the first surviving son, and these things are way older than even the British that brought their type of government as when they created this country in whatever 1914, or when the country became independent in 1960, or however you want to call it. So the Benin type of government is expected to be near perfect because it's old enough to have seen the intricacies of different types of monarchical government and has been able to selectively reabsorb the best type of government in the entire world, and which is primogeniture. There are no strikes in primogeniture. The Benin knows if Otonario Ruena, Benin, the Edo people knows who becomes their next Oba. It's not stressful. So it is the most perfect type. A lot of persons raised an eyebrow and said, why must one family become a royal? There are no hindrances. There are no complications. There are more advantages. There are countless of advantages for running a primogeniture government that the Benin people has been able to prove. And it is because of that primogeniture government, monarchical government that the Benin people runs, that makes it practically impossible for the Oba of Benin to be dethroned. And that is why I have said categorically very clear that unlike every other monarchs, Edo monarch is completely immune to any government at whatever point in history, except if they change this monarchical government to primogeniture. Otherwise, the throne of the Oba of Benin is simply undethronable. And that is a point I have raised, and then I'm trying to prove to the populace. So there are no basics like most thrones are being created. Its rotation are being politically influenced. But the Oba of Benin is not politically influenced. There are no basis of politics. So if it is not a politically created throne or politically influenced throne, then it cannot also be politically wished away. I don't want to talk about the spiritualism of the spiritual implication of trying to dethrone the Oba of Benin. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to prove historically by fact, while the throne of the Oba of Benin is immune to what a government. And to God be the glory, the Obas of Benin, the Oba of Benin, it's a father figure to every Edo indigene. So he will never participate in political conflagrations. He will never participate. He will never uh, participate in anything that has to do with politics, because as a father to all politicians of Edo extract. However, should there be any over ambitious Edo man who wishes to prove a point, I imagine Amogue Ezodua has just proven to you that aside the route of every Edo man and woman that will visit, aside the route of the ancestors, aside the route of every Edo man and woman that will visit that governor, that will dare it, all right, the throne itself is protected by a very sophisticated ideology that makes it impenetrable by any caprices of any government at what era of human future development. And that is the point that I'm just trying to make. I remain Emmanuel Amowie is otherwise, and I hope I've been able to prove beyond doubt that the throne of my king is undethronable. Obaga Tokbeo is said.